That's it. You don't even get that title no more. You lost it. You're a sperm donor.
On March 2, 2026, Ark Kalola, the mother of NBA YoungBoy's son Kale, did something that shook the internet in a way no PR team, no carefully worded statement, and no lawyer could have ever contained. She didn't call a blog, she didn't draft a letter, she didn't tiptoe around the truth. She went live, stared straight into the camera, and detonated years of secrets in front of millions. The energy she brought wasn't performative. It was a culmination of frustration, of ignored warnings, of watching a system protect appearances while her son's well-being was dismissed. What she said wasn't just a personal grievance. It was an indictment of patterns, of relationships, and of the polished image of a family that wasn't as untouchable as it seemed. At the center of it all was Jason Michelle, NBA YoungBoy's wife, whose carefully maintained persona as the composed, untouchable queen of this world was about to be shredded, piece by piece, in real time. To understand why this moment hit so hard, you have to see the full picture. Kentrell Deshawn Golden, born October 20, 1999, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, is no ordinary artist. He isn't a fleeting viral act. He is a documented, record-breaking force who has dominated the rap game since his teenage years. By early 2026, he had 34 albums charted on the Billboard 200, the most ever for a rapper in history, breaking records that had stood for decades, and he did it in only 8 years. His RIAA certifications exceed 126, making him the most certified rapper of all time as a lead artist. Publications like Complex crowned him the best rapper alive in 2025. His Make America Slime Again tour grossed over $70 million from 42 shows, moving over 500,000 tickets. His YouTube presence is staggering. Over 15 billion views, with stretches as the most watched musician on the platform. This isn't luck. This isn't hype. This is a cultural franchise, a powerhouse, a man who commands attention globally. And yet, as unstoppable as his music empire has been, his personal life has been an ever-present storm, a shadow looming over every headline. 13 children, approximately 10 different women, starting from the age of 16, that's the context. His oldest, Caden, nicknamed Draco, born in 2016, when YoungBoy was barely old enough to drive. His youngest, the 13th, announced in late February 2026 by Jason Michelle, just days before Arkola's live bombshell dropped. Psychologically, the public sees the tension here. A superstar who can dominate the charts, yet can't fully control the narrative of his own home. And that tension is precisely what made Ark Kalola's revelation land like a bomb. Ark herself is often listed as YoungBoy's 7th baby mama, the mother of his son Kale, born around 2020 or 2021. Unlike others who chase attention, she wasn't a fixture on blogs, reality shows, or viral feeds. She was quietly raising her son, managing a life that most people would describe as ordinary amid chaos. And then something happened. A moment so small yet so explosive it changed everything. Kale came home from a visit at YoungBoy and Jason's house with a mark on his hand. The explanation she got from Jason didn't sit right. That mark became a trigger, the spark that ignited a long simmering frustration. What makes this story resonate on a human level is the psychology behind it. Parents instinctively recognize when a child's safety or truth is being questioned. Audiences, too, subconsciously understand the frustration of a truth ignored, of a story reframed by image and influence. Ark's choice to go live, unmediated, was a declaration. Enough. No spin. No filter. The compilation of her clips that immediately went viral stitched together a narrative that millions could follow, frame by frame, showing both the personal stakes and the broader patterns. Her energy wasn't just anger. It was authority, evidence, lived experience translated into a visual, undeniable proof. At the heart of the live was a dismantling of perception versus reality. Jason's image as the composed, unbothered partner, the queen, the protector of family appearances, was systematically challenged. Ark presented facts, context, and comparisons, forcing the audience to reconcile the disparity between what had been manufactured for public consumption and what had actually happened behind closed doors. Critics might argue she went too far, too public, too emotional, but the calculus is clear. When private appeals fail repeatedly, public accountability becomes inevitable. Strategically, this moment is also a case study in the collision of power, fame, and scrutiny. NBA YoungBoy's career has always been as much about narrative as it has been about talent. Data from recent trends in celebrity accountability shows that audiences are increasingly intolerant of discrepancies between image and action. The ripple effect is already visible. Social media engagement, discussions on trust, and the framing of Jazz and Michelle's reputation are all undergoing a seismic shift. At a structural level, this live broadcast has reminded the industry that curated images are vulnerable, that fans will reward authenticity and call out fabrication in real time. The consequences extend beyond celebrity gossip. If unchecked, moments like this recalibrate what the public tolerates, how artists are perceived, and how the industry mediates personal lives. Psychologically, it lands because it taps into universal themes: truth versus performance, protection versus exposure, love versus control. And forward-looking, it sets a precedent. The next major cultural reckoning won't be about what an artist produces in the studio. It will be about whether the people around them can maintain credibility under scrutiny. So here we are, witnessing a live dismantling of a superstar's domestic narrative, a mother asserting the unassailable authority of truth, and a cultural system being reminded that reality doesn't negotiate. Millions are watching, waiting, analyzing. And the real question is, can any curated image survive when the stakes are this personal, this raw, and this viral?
Mom stopped the car when you was 13 and turned around and spit on you. I probably would have did the same thing.
Ark Kalola didn't ease in. She didn't pause for effect. She opened with a fury so immediate, so raw, that anyone watching knew instantly. This wasn't a performance. There were no cameras to impress, no clout to chase, no narrative to sell. This was years of frustration, accumulated and weaponized, finally released without hesitation. Psychologically, it lands because audiences recognize authenticity when it hits. A person no longer negotiating with appearances, a mother refusing to let her child's story be rewritten by spin. Critics might argue she went public too recklessly, but the truth is, her restraint had already been tested and failed for years, leaving only one option: confrontation in its most unfiltered form.
The fuck, bitch? You purposely burnt my baby.
Everything pivots on one word: burnt. The mark on Kale's finger was not a trivial detail. It was the foundation of Arcola's allegations, the spark that ignited the live broadcast. When she confronted Jazz and Michelle about it, she was told it was a dog bite. But Ark didn't just challenge that explanation. She dismantled it on camera with surgical precision. At a human level, this resonates because parents intuitively know when a child's story has been dismissed or distorted. And strategically, this is where the narrative shifts from gossip to accountability. Evidence over excuses, proof over performance. Critics might say it's emotional overreach, but in reality, it's a calculated, irrefutable presentation of facts, turning perception into truth.
It's not a dog bite. I can pull up dog bites.
Ark Kalola didn't just speak. She transformed her live stream into a courtroom, and she became every role at once: prosecutor, witness, jury, and evidence expert. The moment she pulled up those images, comparing real dog bites to the mark on her son Kale's hand, it wasn't just a visual demonstration. It was a declaration of authority. Psychologically, this lands because people instinctively respond to clarity and proof. The difference between a claim and evidence is enormous. And Ark made that distinction undeniable in front of millions. Audiences could feel it. This wasn't a performance, a meme, or a viral stunt. This was a mother asserting control over a narrative that had long been dominated by image, by spin, by the curated lives of people with power and influence. What's remarkable is the intensity of the strategy she employed. She didn't just rant or recount events. She constructed a visual argument. Each comparison, each image, each pointed reference served as a piece of evidence in a meticulously built case. The live stream became a trial in real time, with Ark guiding the viewers through logic and observation like a seasoned prosecutor. She anticipated counterarguments. The supposed dog bite explanation was dismantled methodically, with side-by-side imagery that left little room for doubt. At a human level, it resonates because parents recognize the stakes. The protection of a child, the refusal to let excuses go unchallenged. That intensity is magnetic because it feels real. People can tell when someone is speaking from accumulated, lived frustration rather than performance energy designed for clicks. Analytically, this is a fascinating example of power dynamics in modern celebrity culture. For years, NBA YoungBoy's household had been a carefully constructed system of appearances, composed partners, curated family content, and public loyalty narratives. And for years, that system insulated certain behaviors from scrutiny. ARK's live stream tore through that insulation like a scalpel. This is what makes the moment both shocking and instructive. It reveals the fragility of constructed narratives when confronted with direct, verifiable evidence. In the modern social media era, that fragility is amplified exponentially. Every screen becomes a courtroom, every share a witness, and every comment a juror. Now, critics might argue that ARK's method was confrontational, that going live like this was excessive, that public prosecution risks misinterpretation or viral exaggeration. And that's true in theory. But in practice, the live stream works precisely because it bypasses the filters that have historically muted or dismissed her voice. PR statements can be manipulated, blog posts can be spun, lawyers can draft wording to soften the impact, but raw, unmediated truth, paired with irrefutable visual evidence, cuts through all of that. The psychological framing is impeccable. The audience is not just watching a story. They are participating in justice unfolding in real time. Emotionally, the impact is cinematic. The stakes are immediate, personal, and visual. Millions witnessed the dismantling of a narrative that had long protected a superstar image, and in doing so, the live stream created a tension that is almost unbearable. The juxtaposition of celebrity power versus parental authority, of curated perfection versus real-life accountability. That tension is what makes this viral, what makes it unforgettable, and what makes it instructive for anyone who believes image can survive evidence. Forward-looking, the consequences are already clear. In an era where live streams, social media, and viral compilations dictate cultural perception, curated images of power are increasingly vulnerable. NBA YoungBoy's household, previously insulated from scrutiny, has now become a case study in public accountability. Fans, media, and industry insiders alike are being forced to reevaluate how credibility, trust, and truth operate in the public sphere. ARK's method demonstrates that in the modern age, the people behind the image cannot control the narrative when evidence and emotion collide live and unfiltered. So here we are, witnessing a mother turn her platform into a courtroom, holding power accountable in front of millions, and forcing the world to reconcile with reality over performance. The energy, the strategy, the evidence, it all lands like a shockwave across celebrity culture. And the real question, as the fallout continues, is this: when a carefully constructed image meets irrefutable proof, how long can the system of appearances really survive?
Let's see what dog bites look like. That's not a dog bite. That is a f***ing burn.